What is going on, Lucid fans? Welcome back to 𝗪𝗡𝗡𝗘𝗖𝗧 Journey. So I do want to share with you some updates coming from Lucid and what that possibly means for us as investors, some of which are very good catalysts in the grand scheme of things. And I also do want to share with you a little bit more of a hypothetical that ever since it came out, I've been really thinking on how Lucid could definitely benefit from that, especially it is linked to Saudi Arabia. So I'm going to share that with you and let me know your thoughts on all of this. But don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I greatly appreciate that. With that though, let's get right to it. Live ticker is going at the very bottom, so it is very much green, so very exciting day. You can even see on this intraday chart, started out a little bit more red, a little bit more panic mode, but then we went epic. And there's a lot of good things happening this week, so I think a lot of FOMO is going to be getting in after their earnings as well, depending on what is coming from that. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. I am also going to be live streaming that, so make sure you do subscribe like I said. But there's a couple of things that did come out from Lucid that I find very beneficial, one of which is a pop-up studio. So yes, it is actually very interesting and it can be done anytime, anywhere. So I think this is might be the new movement that is coming out of Lucid. So it'll be very interesting to see what comes from that, and possibly if they're going to be doing some stats behind it on how much it actually brings in for new reservations, things like that. But it does look like in Roseville, close to Sacramento, there was a pop-up studio. As far as I'm aware, this is the first of its kind for Lucid. So this is very exciting, especially all the costs associated to actually having and maintaining a studio is relatively expensive versus these pop-up. I'm sure the costs are just a fraction of what it actually costs, and technically they can move it anytime, anywhere, and things like that. Of course, they'll probably have to lease the space from the, obviously in this case, the shopping mall, but still, it's still relatively small in comparison. So I find this is a little bit more out of the box thinking, so I really do like that. And so outside of this though, there was a very big catalyst that was posted several days ago, Autonomy. So they're buying roughly about 23,000 EVs, some of which are Rivian, Lucid, Ford, and so forth. But still, they're moving away from Tesla, so being dependent on that. So I think this is a good opportunity for Lucid, because I've always said when you do put Lucid in comparison with any other EV, it stands out. So I think if you have it in this kind of criteria, I think this is going to be a very, very big deal. And having Lucid name out there might get a little bit more free PR, if you want to call it that as well. So I think this is a very big deal. When it comes down to it though, like I mentioned at the very beginning, there's a little bit more of a hypothetical that ever since it came out, I've been really wondering how Lucid can be incorporated in the grand scheme of things into this, and that is this. So Saudi Arabia, the line. So in case you guys don't know what this is all about, it's basically a futuristic city that is about 100 miles long, and it's going to be ultimately like a net zero for, I believe, by 2060. A lot of good things coming from that, and essentially this is maybe the future of where the world is going. But obviously Saudi Arabia, with the huge amount of money that they do have, and again, part of their 2030 plan and their kind of movement away from oil, this is going to be one of those big things which will make a massive difference. But what I thought of initially was Las Vegas, and I've always thought of this and how technically Elon is doing the autonomous kind of driving route in Vegas, and I think that is a very good PR stance, because obviously they're going to be the only one in town to do that, and they basically own that, right? Everyone's going to be getting into a Tesla. But what happens with Saudi Arabia? Who could take advantage of that? Lucid. So I'm not really sure the configuration, but imagine if there was a kind of a line, because I know they did talk on saying that it's a 100-mile long mirrored skyscraper megacity, on which they did say that every general area will have all the amenities that everyone will need. So I don't think anyone will necessarily need to move from what they're kind of elaborating to, but imagine if there was a dedicated autonomous driving route just for Lucid, because keep in mind, Lucid is a very big part of their 2030 plan. And then if Lucid does do everything right, then they could be part of Saudi Arabia's big plan, which obviously would be a part of this. So this is maybe just my mind jumping to conclusions and trying to find the best opportunities for Lucid. But let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. Like I said, maybe it's a little bit more of a pipe dream, but there could be a very real possibility for Lucid in this circumstance. couple of other updates I just want to share with you as far as updates for today per se, and that is I'm going to start with short interest because a lot of people are already saying on stock forums that Lucid is going through a little bit more of a short squeeze because, like I mentioned at the very beginning, the intraday just went very much red to very much green very, very fast. But technically, as you can see, they are actually adding today. So there was no actual squeeze right now, but if anything though, the likelihood of a squeeze is actually going up. So short score is 86.96. So higher the number, the higher the likelihood of a squeeze happening. But like I said, they're adding roughly about 52,000 shares as of right now. Cost to borrow average is 16.18. So it is what it is. But outside of this though, I just want to share with you the new round of 13Fs coming down the pipeline. Right now, it is still relatively small fish, although it is still important. I think the bigger ones that a lot of people really care about are the next 2 weeks. So the 2nd and 3rd weeks of August. But still, at the tail end of this week, there might be some big ones still coming out. Generally speaking, the ones that come out today aren't really the best. You can see a lot of puts being added and a lot of call options and actual physical shares being reduced significantly. But still, like I said, these are relatively small fish in the grand scheme of things. So let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. And so with that, just going to cap it off with some technical analysis. So welcome back to the 19s. We also do have the 50, 100, 200-day moving averages, Bollinger Bands, RSI, stochastic, and momentum to kind of give us a good representation of everything you need to know. Momentum, number of buyers has been pretty stagnant, so most likely a lot of people are just waiting till after the earnings to see what comes from that. Stochastic, you can see a nice deviation starting to form, so black line above the red showing a nice bullish start to a trend. And like I've been saying, we were very much overbought, kind of consolidated and cooled off very extremely actually. Now we're very much oversold. So this is why I feel right now we do have a great opportunity to have a nice leg up. RSI is currently at 51, so fairly neutral. And on the actual chart, breaking past that 50-day moving average, which typically we've always had a lot of difficulty with. So we're doing that pretty easily today. And we are actually going to be testing, it looks like that central Bollinger Band right now, most likely later today. So a lot of good things are coming on the one day before our actual earnings. So let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments below. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I greatly appreciate that. But with all that, I appreciate you guys watching, and let's all make a lot of money on Lucid.